Hi, my name is Anand Bora. I'm the owner of Zen Industries LLC, a property investment company in Sumter, South Carolina. I started my company in 2015 with the hopes of generating extra household income, like most entrepreneurs dream of. Several years and multiple investments later, my company's purpose evolved to look at each investment decision from different angles to make sure it's executed to benefit everybody involved. I don't know when the change came about, but I do remember what brought about the change. It was a quote from this guy named Simon Sinek, and it goes something like this. A company is just like a car. The purpose of a car is not to buy gas. The purpose of a company is not to make money. The purpose of a car is to go somewhere, and fuel helps you get there. The purpose of a company is to accomplish something to advance a greater cause, to contribute to society, and money helps you get there. A company then requires a team comprised of highly diverse and talented individuals to bring its purpose to life. Oftentimes, when people see our finished products, they don't see the team of people that came together to make that product. The purpose of this video is to highlight team members that came together to save a homeowner from foreclosure. So here is a glimpse of what happened behind the scenes at 2380 Equinox and all the obstacles we had to overcome to fulfill the purpose of my company.
My name is Jamie Andruska, and unfortunately about 2 years ago my father fell ill and passed away in the hospital, which caused me to have to take over his responsibilities. He unfortunately did not have a will, which caused me to have to go through the probate process. And in South Carolina, it takes about a year, depending on your situation. I paid my father's mortgage for about 8 months and unfortunately fell on hard times myself. So I started asking the mortgage company what my options were. I was unable to get the mortgage in my name at first because the probate process was taking so long, which was one issue that I had. And another issue that I had was that I did not live in the house in South Carolina. So because you do not occupy the home, they cannot financially help you, which caused me to have no other options at that point. So at that point, I had to make the trip down to South Carolina to then get ready to clear out the entire house. And on my way down here is when Amy called me. And when I got to South Carolina is when she met up with me. We met here at the house, discussed the details of the property and the issues that I was going through. They did their own work on their part, and between communication from New Jersey and South Carolina, they decided to help me. And from there is we decided to be partners in the situation, and turned out helping me instead of going through a really horrible financial situation and not being able to help my dad.
Hi, my name is Amy Vora. I'm the broker owner of Bootstrapped LLC, a real estate company in Sumter, South Carolina. 2380 Equinox Avenue was a challenge for me. One of my specialties is I skip trace. Also, I look on websites, various websites, to find the information that I need to be able to give the information to my investor clients so they can pull the trigger on the deal. 2380 Equinox Avenue was one of those. I got in touch with Jamie Andruska by calling several different numbers until I found her, reaching out to her on emails. She was in New Jersey, so quite a ways away. And when I finally got hold of her, she was on her way here to the house that we're talking about right now. The interesting thing about that was she said it was a godsend that I called because she needed to get rid of the property really fast. It was going on auction in 2.5 weeks. I was able to get a hold of my investor client, and I told him that she has 2.5 weeks to close. And what's going to happen is you got to be real quick on this because time's of the essence, and the chance of closing on this was like slim to none because 2.5 weeks really, it's nobody can close on an auction in 2.5 weeks. You know, that just doesn't happen. Luckily, we have a good attorney. He was able to do that in 10 days. It was off the auction, and he informed Harding Investments, another investor of his, that this was a deal that was going through and if he would like to get in on this deal, and he said yes. Jamie Andruska said we were a godsend for her. She was happy with what we did. I was able to make the numbers work. I was able to connect the investor to the homeowner, and the deal was done.
My name is Jason Harding. I am with Harding Investments, LLC. I met Anon, who is with Zen Industries about 10 years ago. He was my pharmacist. And you know, when you've got 3 small children and you're in there all the time, you really get to know your pharmacist well, because you're constantly in there having to pick up their medicines, your wife's medications. And from there we became close friends. And Anon started telling me about, you know, one of his hobbies that he got into was investments and investing in real estate. And he had some rentals that he was involved with. He had done maybe 1 flip at this point. And we kept in close contact forever since then. And one day he said, well, why don't you get in investing with me? And I said, well, I'd like to look into that. It's something that, you know, my wife and I had considered. And he was always giving me advice. One thing about Anon, he's always willing to teach and inform and empower the community. And I'm so glad that he reached out to us and wanted us to be involved. And he taught me to utilize resources like, you know, the mortgage and the value on your house, and how much you owe on your house, and how you can use that to benefit your business. And we did, and he offered for us to get involved in this project. So this project here on Equinox Drive was very unique in our approach. We reached out to a young lady by the name of Jamie, lives in New Jersey, found out that she owned this house, and she was so happy that we had reached out to her because she was at risk of losing the property. A little bit about her story is her father, he went in for a medical procedure and never came home. He passed away. So she inherited it without the information to be able to make payments on the home, the mortgage payments, didn't know who to pay. Didn't know what was going on, what went into this property, what was done to this property, that her dad had done most of the demo work already. And so she was about 2 weeks, give or take a day or two, away from losing the house to an auction for foreclosure. And we got involved with Frank Schuler. He was our attorney, and he worked his magic, and within 10 days, unbelievably, we were able to get in this house. We ended up turning Jamie into a business partner. Between Zen Industries, Harding Industries, and Jamie, we were able to all work together to get into this home, finish the demo, work with our friends Mike and Jennifer to get the house flipped, get it done, make it beautiful. And now Jamie's father's legacy is going to live on through this property that he intended on, you know, redoing himself. Now we've finished it up, and we've made Jamie a partner. So she could have went from having nothing, you know, after dealing with the tragedy of her father passing away, to now she'll come out with a financial gain, and just the knowledge that her dad's legacy is going to live on through this property. That some stranger or some random investment company with a team of people with their only goal is to make profit, we have incorporated the community, and you know, the profit will come. You know, when you aim to benefit the community and people who are down and out, the rest of it will come. So that's a little bit about my story. So I started Harding Investments was to get involved in this property, and I plan on doing a lot more with Anon and and Zen Industries, and also, some myself in the future. So that's a little bit about me and our story. So I think, I went over a lot of the pros of investing in this property. I think some of the cons, well, the pro is our friends Mike and Jennifer made this a beautiful property. With that came a lot of challenges. A lot of people don't realize when they flip houses, most of your homes build after a certain time. In the modern day home, they all have specific measurements. And a lot of those measurements are pretty straightforward. But unfortunately, when you get into what used to be, even though this is a D-title mobile home, this is considered a house. It was at one time a mobile home, so a lot of your measurements were kind of out there. So a lot of custom building on things that you wouldn't think you typically, when you think custom built, you think, okay, well, you had trays put in the ceiling, or you had custom plumbing done, custom kitchen, custom bathrooms. And we do have that here, but a lot of that simple things like door frames. Who would think that that would be something you'd have to custom do? And it presented a lot of challenges. It really hung up the construction and the finalization of this property because you have to have doors that have to shut. You don't want them swinging in and out, and so that's where a lot of the challenges came, I think. Also, I know Mike had his challenges when it come to wiring in the ceiling because there's no attic. You just have a small space between the ceiling and the roof. And so, and man, did he and his wife and his guys knock it out the park. I mean, they really pulled off an amazing project, and we're so thankful for them and so blessed to have them on our team. And we've really pulled off a heck of a project. So yeah, even though there was cons, the pros outweigh it by a mile. When you invest in real estate, when you invest in anything, whether it's Amazon stock, whether it's real estate, no matter what the case is, there's always a risk involved. It is always a gamble, a safe gamble, but a gamble. I think what worried me most is this is a D-titled mobile home, but it still is a house. But what really seals the deal and makes this property special is that it sits on an acre of land in a nice neighborhood that is up and coming. A lot of new constructions going on around, so it helps with comps. And it also sits on a unique piece of this neighborhood that for miles behind us, no one is allowed to develop due to the Air Force Base being nearby. So, someone's going to be living in this home and have so much privacy behind them that they won't have to worry about anybody development. I mean, they'll be able to take in Mother Nature, God's beauty. They'll be able to take in, wildlife, and they'll be able to look at the trees and enjoy the wind and enjoy the quaint and serene landscape that's theirs. And even though they won't own it, nobody will, but they'll be the ones that can enjoy it for the time that they spend here.
Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Jennifer. We're with J&M Construction and Hauling. We met Anon about 2 years ago on a project over in Furman, and since then we've been with Zen Industries, helping them out and flip houses. This is our second house we've flipped with them. We've been in this for about two and a half years. We've worked a lot of projects and worked through a lot of things. Equinox is a little bit more to the heart on this project because I am active duty military. And so after my active duty day, I come over here and give back to the community, donating my time and resources, bringing airmen, bringing local people out and teaching them skills, giving back to the community on this project. This project meant a lot to me because not only did we help the community, but we also helped a local person who's about to lose this property. Without Zen Industries and us this could have been like a property that could have just fell to the wayside and not becoming a neighborhood. And I would have hated to have seen that. Like, we got out here and we showed up on scene and she had a U-Haul, and it was just a little bit of a struggle watching this mom who drove down from New Jersey trying to pack her dad's life away in this property. So we jumped right on scene, helped her get things squared away, and kind of got after the property right then and there. My wife Jennifer showed up on scene, walked through the door, and she was like, this is a great investment. From the moment we walked in the door and seen like 2x4s holding up the ceiling to the moment you see before you, it's been a challenge, it's been a good time, there's been ups, there's been downs. It's been an ongoing project. Jennifer, what do you think? Like, what was some of the challenge you dealt with here for designing before we even got into the roots of this house?
Well, there was 2x4s holding up the ceiling, and that was definitely an obstacle that we had yet to run into working on our projects, but we came up with a really good solution, and it looks beautiful. We wanted to go with something a little different than what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of modern stuff, and so I kind of wanted to add a little bit of farmhouse into it, incorporating the gray with the black, but having the countertop be the butcher block, really tied everything together, and it turned out beautifully. What did you run into that was an issue?
Oh man, the doors in this place, the walls were like all covered in wallpaper, and so it was a challenge getting all the seams that come with a mobile home to look like a regular sheetrock wall, which these are now all sheetrocked, clean lines, the trim. I think my biggest challenge was the sit-in bathtub. That thing.
The freestanding bathtub?
Yes, that was definitely a challenge, getting under there, tying back to the plumbing, getting it squared away, and getting it to looking to where it is now. I think that was the biggest hurdle I faced. Now, there are a couple other little hurdles like lighting. There's no attics. This beautiful hood vent back behind me, great. But like originally when we walked in, you could have seen like when he was remodeling this home, there was nothing. That hood vent was over here. There's a stove and a portable sink.
Yeah, the stove was in the corner.
So there was a lot of work that went into making this kitchen seem seamless from photo to photo. But like when we put our work and efforts into it, there was a lot of work behind it. Even we had to do a little bit of roofing and shingling. So I think out of all of it, I'm gonna go with the tub. This beam, I loved getting those 2x4s out of the center of the room.
Yeah.
I think
this was a battle.
Yeah, I think the tub was my challenge, but I think maybe the paint or flooring, which one was more harder for you dealing with?
I would say that the paint was the hardest because the color I had chosen to go with was agreeable gray, which in some rooms can look tan and in some rooms can look gray. And once we put it with the gray flooring, it looked very gray. And then I had gray cabinets, so I was scared to move into the kitchen with the agreeable gray. So we decided to switch it up and go with an ice cream. But sitting here, you can't see the transition from the cream to the agreeable gray.
No,
I think seamless.
Well, I think your background helped out a lot with that too.
The backsplash.
Well, no, your background from like where you previously worked and learning all of those different skills and techniques.
Yeah, I before moving out here, I worked for a plumbing company and helped design kitchens and bathrooms, $1 million kitchens and bathrooms for some very high-end people. So that is what started me off with my design. I did that for a few years, and then we moved down here because of being in the military, and now we're doing this. So it's nice to get to continue doing something that I really enjoy, which is designing.
So the reason we have that garden tub, and it was such a problem and such a pain, is the original owner left it. And I was like, we wanted to incorporate some of the things that he was already working on in this project and continue his legacy, like the remodel of the kitchen, the tub, the doors, which were just lovely. But yeah, no, that tub was one of the coolest things that was part of the property that he started on, and I haven't seen it in any of our other properties. And I was like, we got to do this. And Jennifer was like, yeah, no, we're definitely keeping this. Like, we're going to make this work.
I had some problems when I was designing the bathroom because that garden tub takes up a huge portion of space, and you still have to be able to incorporate all the other aspects of a bathroom, like your sink and your shower and your toilet. And so to get it all to fit in there, we had to kind of add it in funky. He also had already plumbed in the freestanding tub filler. So wherever we had put it, the freestanding tub, it had to work with that tub filler. So yeah, that was definitely a bit of a challenge. I wrote the measurements down probably 100,000 times to make sure it was gonna work.
Oh, you want to go with measurements. How about that vanity? That vanity, she was like, Mike, we are not going to have a gap this big on the side of the vanity. Those walls will be perfect next to that vanity and will be perfect. Nobody wants to buy a house that if there's something rolls off, they got to reach behind that crack. No, you will make that work. You know what we did? We made it work.
Wow, that foreclosure process was a bear from day one. Met a lot of challenges, a lot of hurdles between several different parties. We tried to call Guild Mortgage and the foreclosure attorney, and we didn't get anywhere. So we had Jamie call the foreclosure attorney and reach out to them, and she was advised to call Guild Mortgage. And then she was met with more negativity that the foreclosure attorney stated, he's like, I don't see how there's any way you're going to get out of the foreclosure at this point. So very disheartening. So she reached out to Guild Mortgage, and Guild got the payoff, told her what it was. So she reached out to us with that payoff amount that we told her we'd help her with. And we took this to our attorney. And this was on the Thursday before the Monday that the foreclosure process was supposed to happen and the auction was going to take place. So our attorney had reached out to the foreclosure attorney, and he got nowhere as well, even more negativity. Our attorney then reached out to Guild Mortgage, and they asked us to wire the money to the foreclosure attorney. So we're talking thousands of dollars. We get it together. We come up with a wire transfer, and it gets rejected by the foreclosure attorney. And foreclosure attorney says that I can't take it. So we're then advised to wire the money to Guild Mortgage. And this is at Friday afternoon almost at this point. And so the wire transfer is initiated. It goes over to Guild Mortgage, and we spent the entire weekend sweating bullets. It was a lot of pressure. You can imagine you've got thousands of dollars tied up in something that you're really taking a gamble. So the wire cutoff time had passed for the day. We prayed over the weekend, and then finally our attorney then told us that everything may have worked out, it may not have worked out, and he advised us to go to the auction Monday. So we go to the auction Monday, and we're sitting in there, in this courtroom, and we're like, they come in, the people that work there, and they're like, all right, we got 4 properties coming up. And all these investors from like several states are in this room. And we're sitting there, probably maybe one of just maybe 6 or 7 total people who are local. And we're like, man, please don't come up. Please don't come up in the auction. So they list the first property. And then they list the second one, and everybody's bidding on it. And then they list the next one, the third one. And then the fourth one comes up. And Equinox is not in the equation. And we're like, praise God, thank you. We had been praying and praying. And everything worked out. And so we come out of there, found out that the wire transfer was complete. We were good to roll. And it was just like, chill bumps thinking about it. It was great. It was fantastic. And we're just so glad that everything worked out for the best. And Jamie's happy, we're happy, and looking forward to getting this house sold and going from there. So that was great.
Through this entire process, Amy and Anand really helped me out. This could have been such a really bad experience for me, but they helped me through the entire thing. They answered every phone call that I made to them. They filled me in on everything that was going on with lawyers and things with the house. They constantly sent me update pictures of what they were doing, and they just always kept me in the loop with everything they were doing. I could not thank them enough. They were amazing people throughout the entire process. And it went from an extremely bad situation to turning into a blessing and a profit for me and my children. I greatly appreciate them.